looking at the poetry essay. And my notes on the essays overall. One of the biggest issues that I saw was thinking your reader's going to believe you just because you say it. What I mean by that is a lack of evidence to prove points. What evidence do we use to prove points? We use good secondary source material. The dictionary is not a secondary source. Okay, it's kind of a cheap way to get an extra source to meet the minimum, but you don't meet the minimum because the dictionary doesn't count. So if you're just defining something, you can do that in your paper, but it's not going to count as one of your minimum 3 sources. You need source material that talks about the author, the specific work, an issue that's being discussed. So for example, on this upcoming fiction essay, you can have a source, Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines desire as blah, 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 but you would have to have 4 total secondary sources instead of 3. And we read about this for the research project. What's the difference between a primary and a secondary source? And so make sure that you're using good secondary source material. Also, text to support our ideas. Okay. Yes, we're assuming that the reader has read the text, but specific quotes are going to help prove the points that you want to prove. So specifics as you're developing your arguments is going to be important. Third person. Every essay in this class should be written in the third person. That means we eliminate first person, I, me, we, us, our, my, from the essay. If there's a few of those here and there, that's okay. But I really want to get rid of the I think, I believe, I feel type of statements. Second person especially needs to be eliminated. If you use second person, you, your, on your paper, and it wasn't in a quote, your grammar mechanics grade went down to 59%, which is not something you want in your paper. So make sure that you're writing your essays in the third person. You need to cite the primary source. What's the primary source? The story, the poem, the play, whatever you're talking about, and you need to cite from the textbook. Now that's a little bit difficult because this textbook has not come out with a new edition that has the new MLA in it. So even though we have a citation at the end of each sample student essay, it's not correct because it's using the 7th edition of the MLA and not the 8th. So as you're citing your sources, make sure that you're using the rules for the 8th edition. And I emailed out to all my 102 classes videos and links to resources before this paper was due to your Canvas inbox, all the information you're going to need. Citing source material correctly is about want to, okay? If you put the work in, if you make a mistake here and there, that's fine. If you don't, and just kind of list your websites at the end of your paper, that's going to be a problem, okay? So make sure that you're using the 8th edition. This word's problematic. Its baby brother is this one. In literary analysis, and I know you can't see it if you're on the video, but the word I wrote on the board is seems. Use this word as infrequently as possible. The author is making it seem like blah, blah, blah. No, the author is doing X. Okay? When you use the word seems, what you're doing is making you appear unsure of your opinion. You're kind of hedging your bet a little bit. Well, if I just say it seems this way, that's not a firm opinion. So if I'm not right, then, well, I said seems. Crow. What does that mean? State your opinion, back it up with evidence, and you make a good argument. You don't have to be wishy-washy on your opinion as long as you're supporting it. And if you're using good evidence, like I talked about at the beginning of this, posing a good essay, you're not going to have a problem with that. Okay, so make sure that we're being firm in our opinion and avoiding qualifiers like seems or may or appears to type of statements. Okay, because you're going to have a better paper, and that's the goal. You know, whether your goal is just to get the best grades you can and get out, or to become a better writer, either way, it's, you know, these tips are going to help you. Okay, if you are going to revise the paper and you're eligible to revise the paper, you need to go through the following process. One, your paper, the paper that you submitted needed to be at least 1,080 words, 90% of 1,200 words. Two, you need to either meet with me in my office or request via email or Canvas message a video of me going over some tips for revision. And that's where I'll go through, I'll do a screen share on the video, and I'll go through your paper and point out things that you need to work on. I did put this on YouTube, but what I do is I make it, it's not public, it's
Private.
not private, the one in between, unlisted. So you can only view it if you have the URL. So it's private to you for that video. And then those revisions are going to be due next Thursday, which is March the 23rd. Okay, so if you want to revise your essay, it's due on the 23rd. The paper, the fiction essay is due on the 22nd, so I want to give you some time after that if you need to focus on the fiction essay for now to give you a day to do the revision. But I do want to spend Friday the 24th working on grading, so I don't have stuff to do over spring break. Questions about all this stuff? Remember, if you have a question, somebody else in the class might, or somebody online might.
Could you repeat when you said to send your request asking about the revise?
You need to either send me a request for a video going over suggestions for revision, or meet with me in my office so we can go over it.
And that'll help. We can make our grade better.
Yes, and if you had a late penalty, it erases the late penalty. Now, you get whatever grades you get on the revision. So potentially it could go down. However, I've been doing revisions this way for about a decade. I've only had one paper in all that time go down in points. Now, I do grade the revisions slightly harsher than I do the original version because you've had the opportunity to get feedback and all that stuff. But whatever grade you get on the revision is what you stick with. Other questions? Like I said, that if you actually work to make your paper better, there's no chance. That one paper I'm talking about, they changed a few grammatical errors and turned in the exact same paper. So that's why it went down. If you don't do that, you'll get a better grade. And you can get as high as, you know, an A. You can go from a D to an A. It's unlikely. But I would say on average, revisions get about, if you do a good job on it, at least a grade higher. Typically. I'd say that's an average. I'm not promising anything. Okay, other questions? All right, well, let me shut down the video.